Hi guys, and welcome to this video on bearings. Now we need to have a bit of information or a bit of background knowledge on direction when we look at applications to trigonometry. So bearings is basically a way to indicate direction. Navigators use this, and we can describe bearings in two ways. The first one is true bearings, and the second one is compass bearings. So a true bearing is a three-figure angle in the direction from true north, and we measure it in a counterclockwise direction. Sorry, in a clockwise direction. So if we were going to have a look at the diagram, there's north, and we always go in that direction. And if the point's over here, when we hit that line, we need to work out this particular angle. Okay, and we use a bit of 90-degree angles, 180 degrees, 270, etc. Now, a compass bearing is read as north or south first, depending if the position is up or down. Then it's followed by east or west. So this particular bearing here, north 30 degrees west, is saying, okay, if north is here, north is going up, and we go in the west direction 30 degrees, so the bearing is right there. So that's 30 degrees here. We've also got the generalized directions, north, south, east, west, and then we've got in between those northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest. So here's a compass rose. We just discussed the 8 generalized ones. There's a few more that are included here. So northeast is halfway between north and east. So if this is 90 degrees, this one will be half of 90 degrees, which is 45. So in between here is 45 degrees. So would be in between these two, so 45 degrees in there. So if this is 90, 45 plus 90 is 135. So here's just some common angles that will be necessary when we draw diagrams. So this is your compass bearing, and if the question says, okay, a particular object traveled northwest, well, we know northwest is in that direction. Okay, so a nice easy way to remember the north, east, south, west is you'll never eat soggy Weet Bix. That is just another way you can remember that. Okay, so here's a worded question. A yacht leaves Sydney and sails 120 kilometres on a bearing of 80 degrees. We've got two parts. We've got how far north of Sydney is the yacht, and what is the bearing of Sydney from the yacht. Now, a diagram will be a very handy thing to have. Sometimes you'll have to draw your own diagram. Sometimes the diagram will be given to you. So knowing a basic direction, 90 degrees is going straight east, so 80 degrees is just before going directly east. So S for Sydney, Y for yacht, we have an 80-degree angle, so 80 degrees, and that yacht travels for 120 kilometres. So the first one is saying how far north of Sydney is the yacht, so how far up has it travelled? So it's travelled 120 kilometres in total, but it's got a horizontal and a vertical part. So we're trying to find out the vertical part in part A. And then there's a key word here, from. So when we're looking at from the yacht, so the yacht is, right here, we need to work out the bearing from that yacht to Sydney. So this angle here is the bearing that we're trying to calculate in part B. So if we want to find out how far north the yacht has travelled, we'll maybe using a right angle triangle, and we'll calculate x there. We've indicated in the diagram that this is 10 degrees because we've got a right angle there and 80 degrees is already given. So complementary angles add to 90 will let us know that that angle in the triangle is 10 degrees. Okay, so we have an opposite, we have a hypotenuse. So using our sine ratio, sine 10 is opposite over hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by 120, and then x is 120 multiplied by sine 10. And to the nearest, two decimal places, we've got 20.84 kilometers. Okay, so if this angle here is 10 degrees, what is this angle going to be up the top? So angle sum of a triangle will indicate to us that that's 80 degrees. We can also see that, we've got alternate angles. So this angle here will be equivalent to that angle there. So alternate angles on parallel lines are equal. They're parallel because these are traveling or facing in the same direction. So the bearing of Sydney from the yacht will in fact be not just 80 degrees, but 180 plus 80, because this is a straight angle, there's 80 degrees. Adding that extra part, which was 80, will indicate the total bearing. Okay, so the bearing is 260 degrees. Okay, pause the video and have a go at these three parts. The diagram has been indicated just to help you out, so have a go at that. Okay, so to work out the value of that angle alpha, we know a complete revolution is 360 degrees, and we're just before 360 degrees. So if we do 360, take away the 323, we end up getting our alpha, so that's 37 degrees. Okay, so constructing a right angle triangle needs to be a right angle. We worked out that that was 37. We can work out that angle if we wish. That might help us out later. But we're working out how far north how far north of Sydney is Gunderman, so we're working out that distance here. So let's call it x. In this case, we're using adjacent and hypotenuse, so that's the cosine. So cos 37 equals x on 204. Multiply both sides by 204 and use your calculator, and to the nearest kilometre it's 163 kilometres. Okay, so what is the bearing of Sydney from Gunderman? So we're working out that particular angle. So this angle, which is 90, plus that extra part, would be the bearing. So that angle in here is in fact 53 degrees, using the angle sum of a triangle. So therefore the bearing of Sydney from Gunderman is 90 degrees. There is the right angle, and the extra part, which is 53, add them together to get the total bearing. So that's 143 degrees. So, we're traveling in this direction of a bearing of 143 degrees. Okay, pause the video at this time and answer the two parts based on this bearing question. You'll need to create your diagram, draw it, and put in the relevant parts. Okay, so the first part, close to 14 kilometers, and the second part, it is flying on a bearing of 321 degrees. Okay, how did you go with those two? Okay, so that completes the video on bearings. I hope you learned something new. And if you have any specific questions, don't forget to write them down and ask. So thanks for watching.